recording right away. So we are live. Let me hit post in the group. There we go. All right, hi everybody. This is Annelise Woitulewicz with Annelise.co, your dream instigator, and I have with me tonight Barbara Foxworth at barbarafoxworth.com. And we're here tonight to talk to you a little bit about how each of us practice mindset, or how we align our own thoughts and beliefs with the goals or desires, dreams, whatever it is that we have. There's different ways that people talk about mindset, and I know it's, well, at least in our communities, I feel like it's a very overused word at this point, but that's what we're here to talk about tonight, is how it shows up for us and how we really just bring mindset practice into our own daily lives and in our business. So welcome, and thank you for joining me, Barbara. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Annelise. I appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome. So funny story is, Barbara, I asked her if she wanted to join me live, and she said yes until today when I wrote her, and then she realized I meant live, like here she is live, and she's like, what? So I'm so happy that she still agreed to, because I know, Barbara, that you've got a lot of really amazing practices that you are really good about following and doing on a regular basis. So I'll just start and share for me some of the things that first I would love to hear, why is your mindset important to you? Like, what do you even need to have a practice in place?
Oh my gosh, that's a good question. I think because it all starts with mindset. I've heard before that you've got to see it in your mind before you're going to see it in your reality. Mm-hmm. So that's so I have to be able to know that I can create my goals, and to be able to do that, I need to visualize it first before it actually even happens. So and it really makes me feel really good and centered, and I really feel like I can accomplish anything when I have the belief that I can create the result that I want.
Yeah. So for you, it sounds like, and I know this is the case for me too, that visualization process, that sounds like that's a huge part of your mindset practice.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that you can see it.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you don't have to necessarily see it in reality, but we just need to be able to see it in our minds, see it in our up here, in order for us to really believe that it's going to happen or come true or be possible. Is that right?
That's right. So how I actually come up with my beliefs is I always have a goal that I'm going after, an outcome. I call it an outcome. And what I do is, I ask myself, what is the belief I need to have in order to create that result? And then I create that belief, and I say it to myself in the morning when I do my morning mindset practice. I say it to myself every morning. But if you you create your result that you want, and then you start figuring out what the actions that you need to take. If your mindset is not in check, if you haven't started really fine-tuning that mindset, then you're not going to take the right actions to get the result that you want, because your mindset could be negative, and I think that's like the natural state of the mind, to go to the negative, and you have to keep on continuously trying to get it back to the negative. Somebody said to me today that it's like you're in a crowd, and the negative voices are the loudest in the crowd, and your positive voice really needs more attention to so you really need to cultivate those beliefs. So
yeah, so that I'm glad that you brought that up, when you say like that needing to cultivate those beliefs that you want to have. because that was something that like stands out for me that I wanted to make sure that I got across tonight, is the amount of what I call practice or repetition. You know, it's not just like, you know, I don't think for either one of us that we just woke up one morning and we're like, oh, like, you know, my mindset's great, or I'm just doing this practice and it's all easy. It's, for me, it's been a huge amount of repetition of, you know, finding what works and studying and reading and doing these things over and over again and finding the, it's repetition. Like, repetition is huge in order to create those beliefs that we need to have. Without it, it's much more challenging. At least for me, it's much more challenging to recreate a new belief that I want to have if I'm not somehow thinking about it over and over again and putting that pattern in my brain. Does that make sense?
It does. It absolutely does. Yeah. So, so I find when I have a goal and I don't create a belief that, that will help me get to that result, I find that beliefs start being good enough, and you know, some other, but come in, say that belief good enough comes in to my mindset. What are the actions I'm going to be taking with that mindset? They're not going to be as good as if I belief around that I am good enough. I already have the skills and have everything I need.
Oh, you cut out. Hopefully she comes back here.
I'm still here.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
I'm still here.
There you are. Go ahead and talk again.
What thing would you miss?
Is your video out?
No. I can see myself.
Okay.
Can you see?
Yeah, I know. I've just got a black screen right now for you. So let me, hold on. Show and broadcast. Oh, are you muted?
Well, when you just did, yeah, now I'm on it.
Okay, you're back.
Okay, great. So if you missed the part of that, I said when you have a better belief, like I am good enough, I have those that I need, take better actions basically, and when you take better actions, obviously you're gonna get better results.
Yeah, I remember when you and I had did some work together last spring, and actually I have this taped up on my wall and I've used it. You're the one that taught me the thought change formula. Do you remember that?
It's a change of thought?
Yeah, the 4-step, I kind of considered it the 4-step thought change formula. I totally got that from you. I'm looking up because it's taped on my wall here. Do you remember? Do you use this?
Well, you start with belief, right? And the belief goes into the potential. You know, if you have a great belief, you have great potential. If when you use your full potential, you'll take great actions. Better actions lead to better results. So, is that the formula that you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah. And when you had shared it with me originally, and this is why I keep it up here, because I think that it's a super easy, powerful concept. It's what it was that you had asked. We were working through changing a belief, you know, changing a belief around something, and it was, what is the thought that you have now? Like, what are you thinking now? What is that belief? And then you would ask me, what are the feelings that brings to you? What are the actions that are, you know, that you're doing to cause it, and then what are the results of those actions? And then the next step was the same thing, but what is the thought that I want to have instead? What feelings is that thought going to give me? What actions would I be taking to have those feelings? And then what is the result of those actions to really just get me into that mindset? So I love that as a simple, it's just a super simple thing that I can use with everybody. And anyway, so thank you for sharing that with me a long time ago. I mean, there are so many ways that we can change a belief, and that was a really powerful, easy one.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Another thing that I wanted to say is a lot of people think when I'll do this and then I'll be happy, right? Have you heard people, when I get this, then I'll do that and then I'll be happy? And that's backwards, actually, because we need to start with I'll be happy, be, do, have instead, and go in that order. And actually self that needs to that can create that result. So I start with be, then I go to do, then I have.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, because I know that one of the reasons I had asked you two to come on, because I know that you've got like an amazing morning practice that you do, and you're very consistent with it. So would you like to share with us what you do each day as part of just your standard practice?
Well, sure. Actually, I learned this from my coach, and I just added it to what I already do. Basically, I have a list of beliefs that I read off every morning, and obviously, it's because the results that I want. So I need to make sure that I have the beliefs written out that would create that result. So I have probably 10, 20 beliefs written out, and I read them every single morning. I read them in the morning. And what I do is I read them with music that really touches my soul, that makes me so emotional. And because that's the key, is to actually
feel it.
For manifesting, yeah, you have to feel it. So I do that. I read those. Then I do a quick little visualization. I visualize the end result. That's all I visualize. I visualize who I'm going to tell when I've got the result, and I visualize everything about it, all the details, all the sounds that are going on. I've got my eyes closed when I do it. Sometimes I put on a nice little music in the background that doesn't have any words to it, that really makes me feel very great. It makes me feel gratitude. And so I visualize that, and then after the visualization, I just sit for a couple minutes, which is so amazing. My brain works so quickly and so fast that some days I just need to sit and rest and close my eyes, and sort of I realize that I've got all the help I need. I've got all the answers right inside of me, that when I sit and I'm really quiet, close my eyes, I've got no music on, and I ask, what is the next step for me today? And just all kinds of things start coming up, and I got my little journal next to me, and I start writing down what's the next step, basically, because all these little answers come up to me, and they're always the perfect thing. So I take action on those things that come up during that listening time. So that's it, basically, in a nutshell. And some people do it twice a day. I do it once a day. I would love to be able to do it twice a day, but I never remember in the evening.
Well, it's great that you're doing it every day in the morning. Do you do it first thing when you wake up, or how is that built into your morning routine?
Absolutely. I do it before I do anything else. So I have my cup of tea in the morning, and I sit and I do that. And then I go about my day, and then I'll go exercise, and then get to work. So.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Sure.
So for me, what I do is it's like totally scattered, totally, I'm all over the place, and I seem to go in spurts with what I'm doing. I am always trying to come up with a better routine, a better way to make it happen. And pretty consistently lately, I've been doing it, like I'll start with a meditation in the morning, and That's relatively new. I used to do them more at night, but I've really kind of enjoyed bringing that into the morning, my morning practice, before I even get out of bed. Or actually, a lot of times I'll get up and go to the bathroom and just get a drink of water, and then I'll either sit back down in the recliner, or I'll literally just go back and lay back in my bed and put on something. Sometimes lately I've been doing silent ones, and otherwise I've been doing some kind of guided meditation that's taken me through something. And I mean, to me, that's part of the practice, the mindset practice, and really getting my mind where it needs to be. And especially with a lot of whether it's the hypnosis audios, or, I mean, there's so many different audio tracks that I listen to as part of it that take me through these visualizations and allow me to really just go into this space of doing the visualization like that you had talked about before, and allowing me to see what it is that I want, and to really kind of get some clarity around that. And after that, I would love to tell everybody that I go journal, and I'm really good about it, and I do it every day, and I have these great intentions. And my journal goes with me everywhere. And I do use it a lot, but a lot of times I have these intentions of, okay, now I'm going to go journal, and before I go up to my office or before I do anything else. And I would probably say only half the days of the week do I ever actually get to that journaling. Sometimes I'll do it later at night, and if I'm sitting, I'll write some stuff in it. But I think that when I'm doing the journaling, like, that for me is a huge part of that mindset, because I'm able to really think about those beliefs that I want to have, and rewrite them out, and just let whatever flow. So when you talked about going silent and just going within, I feel like that for me, that journaling process is my way of going within. I get silent too, and I think that's really powerful, but the journaling process, there's just something about whatever happens when you're actually writing, and it just is affirming what's really deep down inside that we really want, and those beliefs that we want to have. And so that's a big part for me. And then I also wanted to say, I had started this, I think, when I did one of my classes last year that I had taught, when, I oftentimes will have people create some kind of affirmation or affirmation where you're asking, putting in the question form. And I pasted them on the back of my bathroom door. And I love that, because now those sit. You said you go to your office and then you read through your beliefs. I don't really have a set of beliefs right now that I'm reading, but I do still have affirmations that I'll rotate. But I put them on the back of my bathroom door, so that first thing in the morning, I just see those, and then I can say those, and I'll say them in front of the mirror. And I'm kind of rotating those out based on the goals that I'm working on. And so that's kind of fun. It's just having those first thing to do in the morning. So for me, it's doing those affirmations, the meditation that I'm doing first thing, and absolutely the journaling, and then just repetition. So, and reading, I can't get enough material in my brain, it seems. And audio content for me, when I talked about repetition, I am constantly, and I know you are too, just filling my brain. And I mean, I cook, I drive, I walk. I probably shouldn't do this, but I do go to bed with audio in my ears quite often. And I mean, it's just part of everything I'm doing, because I'm constantly just wanting to totally reprogram my brain into having all of these thoughts that I want to have, and that I want to, bring more of into my life.
Right.
So those are some of the things that I do.
I also have the headphones in at night. Every single night before I go to bed, I listen to some meditation, and it's usually, I have a favorite, Glenn Harrold. I love his meditations. This Solfeggio 852 is my absolute favorite.
I bought that one because you had suggested it. Yes. Tell me, what do you like about that particular one?
I had the most beautiful experience the very first time I listened to it. What happens is, in the music, when they play the music, the way the solfeggio tunes work is they vibrate inside of your body. And this is vibrating at 852 megahertz. So my body started coming alive like crazy. And then I was going to bed. My body was so alive by the end of it, I couldn't sleep. So I don't recommend, there is a sleep track, but I was not doing the sleep track. I was doing the awake track for some reason. And my body came so alive. But what happened during that meditation was, it was really spiritual. for me, part of the meditation is, he takes you through this guided visualization where he takes you up to the star, and the star is healing you. And I'm going to cry because I love this part. I was sitting there and I felt so loved, and I actually felt God's presence right there. I'm not a very religious person, but I really felt his presence right next to me. It was the very first time that has happened like that.
Wow.
And I also felt my mother's presence, which was very comforting. It was really, it was so bizarre, in a good way. It just warmed my heart. It was just such a great spiritual experience. And what I felt after that is, that he's up there. I think up there. He's letting me know that everything's okay. So
that's beautiful.
That's my favorite one. So I will do that. And that actually has a track on it that's like a 12-minute short version, and it's just the music, and that's the actual music that I use to do my beliefs, because it really has that deep spiritual feeling in my body. But the music in that solfeggio stuff, it feels like it's popcorn all over my body. My cells, I feel like my cells are like popping like popcorn in a good way, and very happy. I just imagine that they're all very happy. So it's amazing. But I don't go to sleep with that one in my ears. I go to sleep with other ones in my ears. Sometimes I feel like I need a confidence boost. I'll listen to something of his, that will, that's confidence. And that one can loop overnight. So sometimes I let it do that. But and there's a couple other titles that I listen to every now and then.
Sure. So I've got a few of his by your recommendation, and I also listened to Stevie B. Jones. So I have lots of his hypnosis audio tracks, and they're about 45 to 50 minutes, and those I'll put on at night too. And I've got a ton from him, and I've really been connecting with. I love Joe Dispenza lately. I don't know if you've listened to any of his work, but he does these awesome meditations, and he does a lot of work around changing a behavior. And I got interested in him because I had heard about him, some evidence of him helping people with medical things. So for my husband with the tremors from Parkinson's, that was something that I really got interested in to see if these meditations would help him, because there's people that have, found success with that. So I'm really interested in Joe Dispenza lately, and I'd love to do some more work with him. But I listen to his meditations pretty often too. Anyways, is there any other wisdom we'd like to depart before we split?
Yes, I think one of the, there's another way to get to your beliefs. And anytime you have a fear that comes up, let your fears lead you to your next belief. So turn the fear around and create a nice belief out of it, and just break through that fear. So once you do that, the path of going from fear, during fear, or just before going into doing what you're going to do that has you in that fearful mode, you feel terrified. But before you feel terrified. But when you're in it, when you're actually taking the action, you feel a little terrified, but you're doing it, right? And then after you've done the thing that you've been putting off forever because you have this little fear about it, like going live on video or something like that, is you have this euphoria, like, I did it. Oh my gosh, I did it once. I could do it again. And now that I've done that, what else can I do? So that's sometimes I have my fears lead me to what I need to create a belief out of.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Lean into the fears.
Lean into them. Yeah, that's the only way to get through them, is to do it. And it gets less terrifying. And then when you get to the other side, you're like, I did it. what else can I do? This is amazing.
Right, right. So on this recording tonight, like, oh, it switched. So it's not been switching. I think that once I clicked on your head, it, oh, good, it's switching now. It stopped switching. So it's supposed to pick up the voice of whoever's talking. Okay. But sometimes when there's lots of people, you can click on the name and it will, allow the person that's running it, so my side, to be able to pick up, the point to the person you want it to record. Anyways, I noticed when I was talking before, I still had your picture up there because I had anyways, it's not going to match for the whole recording today, but that's okay.
Nothing's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to our viewers. So hang on the line. And thank you for joining us. And I hope that everybody got something out of it, maybe learned something else. And feel free to pop any comments into the window below, and we'll be happy to answer your questions on mindset practice. If you want to create one, develop one, anything, and we're there to kind of help you and support you. And we'd love to hear what you do too. So what do you do for mindset? Share. Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.